Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a trip back to Gotham City for one of the most stylish and challenging superhero games of the 16-bit era, The Adventures of Batman and Robin for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This game is an absolute time capsule of 1990s gaming, blending Konami's signature polish with the moody art style of Batman, the animated series. Now, this isn't just another quick overview. We're going to explore the full history behind the game, how it was developed, how it connects to the hit animated show, differences between the Super Nintendo and Sega versions, its sales and critical reception, and even a few hidden facts and trivia that most fans don't know. And of course, if you enjoy deep dives like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow. When you're done watching, I'd love for you to share your memories of this game in the comments and tell me what retro titles you'd like to see me cover next. To understand where the adventures of Batman and Robin came from, you've got to remember what was happening in pop culture in the early 1990s. Batman. The animated series was one of the most revolutionary cartoons of its time. Its film, noir-inspired visuals, dramatic voice acting, and orchestral soundtrack created something that was both mature and exciting for younger fans. The show's tone was serious but stylish, and it completely redefined Batman for a new generation. Naturally, that kind of success drew the attention of video game publishers. Konami, known for legendary hits like Contra, Castlevania, and Gradius, already had experience with licensed games, including Batman Returns on the Super Nintendo. That game did so well that Konami jumped on the opportunity to adapt the animated series into another title, one that could feel like you were stepping directly into the show. Originally, this game was going to be called Batman, the animated series, just like the cartoon. But when the show's title was rebranded to The Adventures of Batman and Robin, Konami changed the name to match. By then, though, development was too far along to rework everything. And that's why, fun fact, Robin doesn't actually appear as a playable character in the Super Nintendo version.
Batman, das Action- und Strategie-Videogame. Grafik und Animationen in absoluter Videoqualität. Batman, Spielabläufe voller Spannung und Dramatik. Beinharte Tricks. Batman für deinen Gameboy und jetzt neu für dein Super NES Batman und Robin. Super starke Videospiele-Action von Konami.
Konami developed and published The Adventures of Batman and Robin for the Super Nintendo in late 1994. This was during a period when Konami was firing on all cylinders. They were masters at pushing Nintendo's 16-bit hardware to its limits, and it really shows here. The development team's goal was clear. Make the game look and feel like an episode of Batman, the animated series. From the music to the color palette to the character animations, every detail was carefully designed to match the cartoon's atmosphere. The game even opens with a sequence that mirrors the show's famous title cards, where each stage is presented like its own self-contained episode. But one thing stands out immediately. Despite the "and Robin" in the title, you only control Batman. Robin appears in a few story cutscenes, but he's not a playable character. This was because much of the design was already locked in before the show's branding changed, and there wasn't time to integrate a second character. Many players expected co-op, especially after seeing the Genesis version, and that caused a bit of confusion. Still, what Konami did achieve is impressive. Every punch, gadget, and cape swoop feels deliberate and weighty. Batman can use batarangs, smoke bombs, X-ray goggles, and a grappling hook to navigate levels and take down enemies, giving players a toolbox of gadgets that actually feel like something out of the show. Let's talk gameplay. The Adventures of Batman and Robin features 8 episodes, each inspired by an actual story from Batman, the animated series. The first level, Amused to Death, pits you against the Joker in a twisted amusement park full of traps, killer clowns, and a roller coaster boss fight. It's full of references to the episode's Christmas with the Joker and Be a Clown. Then there's No Green Peace, where Poison Ivy turns Gotham into her own greenhouse nightmare. Fans will instantly recognize callbacks to the Pretty Poison episode, Later on, you'll encounter villains like Two-Face, Catwoman, the Penguin, Scarecrow, and the Riddler, each level capturing their personalities through clever stage design and dialogue. One standout moment comes in the Riddler's stage, where you actually have to solve riddles to progress. These puzzles draw from episodes of the show, rewarding fans who watch the series closely. There's even a level with a Batmobile sequence, though many players found it to be one of the weaker moments. The control wasn't as smooth, and it slowed the pace of the action. Still, the idea of switching between gadgets and vehicles added to the game's variety. Gameplay-wise, the title strikes a balance between platforming, combat, and puzzle solving. But don't be fooled, it's tough. The game demands precise timing and careful use of gadgets, and the boss fights can be brutal. For many fans though, that challenge is part of what makes it satisfying. When you finally take down the Joker after hours of retries, it feels like a real victory.
Citizens living in the grip of fear. A justice system littered with criminals. The evil underworld of the city infesting the streets. It's time to take out the trash. In Sega's Adventures of Batman and Robin video game, vile villains are bent on trashing Gotham City. Fight through incredible 3D animation as Batman or Robin, or team up against the Joker and other vermin. The Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Here's where things get really interesting. The Adventures of Batman and Robin didn't just appear on the Super Nintendo. It came out on several platforms, and each one was practically a different game. On the Sega Genesis, the game was a fast-paced, two-player run-and-gun title, more in line with Contra than the moody, methodical Super Nintendo version. You could actually play as both Batman and Robin at the same time, which was awesome. But the Genesis version wasn't as faithful to the show's visuals. The graphics were sharper but lacked the smooth animation and atmosphere Konami achieved on the Super Nintendo. Then there's the Sega CD version, which is completely different again.
Are you okay?
Fine, but your partner might not be so lucky. According to Riddler, the Joker's holding Robin at the old Land of Laughs.
This one focused almost entirely on Batmobile and Batwing missions. Basically a driving game with long, FMV-style animated cutscenes. These cutscenes were brand new animations created exclusively for the game, making it feel like a lost episode of Batman, the animated series. The game literally features unseen cartoon footage. Sadly, the gameplay itself didn't live up to the visuals, with critics calling it repetitive and frustrating. And finally, there was a Game Gear version, which stripped the formula down even further into a more basic action platformer. It's an interesting curiosity, but doesn't reach the quality of its console siblings. So, across platforms, The Adventures of Batman and Robin wasn't one game. It was 4 different interpretations of Batman, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. When The Adventures of Batman and Robin hit the Super Nintendo, it received mostly positive reviews, especially for its visuals and music. GamePro praised its atmosphere and brain-teasing stages, calling it one of the better superhero games on the system. They did note the Batmobile stages were weak and wished Robin was playable, but overall, critics loved how faithfully it captured the look and tone of the animated show. Next Generation magazine gave it 3 out of 5 stars, citing good level variety, but criticizing the slow movement of the main character. Over the years, though, the game's reputation has only grown. IGN ranked it among the top 100 Super Nintendo games of all time, while Complex called it one of the 50 best on the console, praising its art and design. Fans today still talk about how the music, sound effects, and color palette instantly transport them back to Saturday mornings watching Batman, the animated series. Sales-wise, it wasn't a blockbuster hit, at least not compared to heavyweights like Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country. But it's achieved cult classic status. Copies of the cartridge are still highly sought after by collectors. In many ways, the adventures of Batman and Robin paved the way for what Batman games would eventually become. You can draw a direct line from this title's moody atmosphere and gadget-based gameplay to the Arkham series years later. Both versions focus on Batman as a detective and master tactician, not just a brawler. It also fits into a fascinating lineage of superhero games from the era, sitting comfortably alongside titles like Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage, and X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Each of these games tried to combine comic book energy with serious storytelling, something that's now commonplace in modern games but was rare back then. And if you want a fun little Easter egg connection, some fans noticed that The Adventures of Batman and Robin shares stylistic similarities with Capcom's Final Fight and the Punisher arcade titles, especially in the way it blends side-scrolling action with cinematic flair. Even outside of gaming, this title helped keep the animated series momentum alive. While it didn't directly inspire movies or anime spin-offs, it's part of that mid-90s wave that bridged the gap between the animated series and Batman's later film adaptations, like Mask of the Phantasm and Sub-Zero. So, what's the legacy of The Adventures of Batman and Robin for the Super Nintendo? It's a tough, stylish, and faithful adaptation of one of the best cartoons ever made. It may not have sold millions of copies, but it captured something timeless, the essence of Batman's world. For many of us, it's the closest we ever came to playing a real episode of Batman the Animated Series. If you enjoyed this trip through Gotham's 16-bit streets, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing you more retro game history videos like this one. Tell me in the comments, what are your memories of The Adventures of Batman and Robin? Did you play it on Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, or maybe even the Sega CD version? And what game should we cover next? If you're not subscribed yet, click on the profile picture on your screen to join our community. And if you want to keep watching, click one of the videos popping up right now to check out more deep dives into classic games from the golden age of consoles. Thanks so much for watching.